Let's look at the Pritzker emergency rule directed at Illinois businesses and workers. Last Friday, the Pritzker administration, through the Illinois Department of Public Health, filed an emergency rule regarding business closures. It wasn't an extension of one of his executive orders. It was a new rule in response to the fact that law enforcement said they weren't going to enforce the executive order about business closures because they can't. Law enforcement can enforce state statute as well as the state's administrative rules. Executive orders are neither. There was no crime to charge. In comes an emergency rule which goes into effect once it's filed. No votes, no bill to discuss, no oversight until a JCAR meeting. JCAR is the oversight committee for administrative rules, and that's why it's called the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules. The governor's emergency rule says that there are 3 categories of businesses that can't be open: bars and restaurants except for takeout and delivery, fitness and exercise centers except for retail products and streaming, and cosmetology and non-medical personal care providers except for retail products. After the business definitions, it says the following: any person who violates the provisions of this section shall be subject to the penalties set forth in Section 8.1 of the Act. Let's look at Section 8.1. It starts with the following: whoever violates or refuses to obey any rule or regulation of the Department of Public Health shall be deemed guilty of a Class A misdemeanor. What's a Class A misdemeanor? A fine of up to $2,500 or 364 days in jail. So it's clear. The new emergency rule just fits right into the any rule portion of Section 8.1. As long as that rule is in place, any person who violates the provisions of this section shall be subject to the penalties set forth in Section 8.1 of the Act. So the ability to charge a crime to business owners or employees who didn't comply with the intent of the governor's executive order before, that didn't exist. It only exists now because of the emergency rule. Hopefully, it won't exist after JCAR on Wednesday.